I'd like to share with you our approach to high-performing teams, or more specifically, what are the conditions that you need to have in place so that your teams, regardless of what type of team it is, has the greatest chance of being an effective and successful team. We reviewed countless models and frameworks for building teams, assessing teams, both in the popular literature as well as in the academic research. And the one that we've landed on is the 6 team conditions framework, developed by Harvard University academics Richard Hackman and Ruth Waggerman. The reason why we like this framework primarily is 2 reasons. The first is that it's grounded in the work of the team. The framework really is built on the basis of what is the work that the team needs to do. Second is that the framework and the model has been peer reviewed, and therefore that gives us faith that by applying the framework, and if you choose, using the assessment, can really make a difference to the teams that you're leading or are in. So let me share with you those 6 team conditions that, if you've got in place, gives you a greater chance of success for your team being successful. The first, and it sounds like the obvious, is what's the work of the team? Does the work actually require you to have an interdependent team? Or might it better be done by a group? So in other words, do you need a real team? The second is, what's the purpose of the team? What is the unique purpose that only this team can do, which is linked back to that work? And is that purpose clear, compelling, and make a difference to the organization? The third element is getting the right people. Do you have the right people on your team with the right skills, the right diversity, so that you can fulfill what needs to be done in terms of task? The next element to look at is, have you got in place the ways of working? That mix of both systems and structures as well as norms and behaviors. All teams operate within organizations, so has the organization set the team up for success? Does your team have access to the information, the resources that it will need over time in order that it can be successful? And the last element, which goes for every team, whether that's a sport team, whether that's an orchestra, is access to team coaching. Now, that can also come from within the team, but it's someone that the team can use that reminds the team in a way to continually be looking at how can this team become a better performing team. So those 6 team elements that we call the 6 team conditions. Is it a real team? Do you have a compelling purpose? Do you have the right people? Have you got the right structures in place for your team? Is it supported by the rest of the organization? And do you have access to a team coach? The 6 team conditions framework we have found over many, many years of using this across many, many teams is a very sound and practical way to guide a conversation with your leaders and with your teams. At the end of the day, designing, launching, and sustaining teams is a leadership effort. So that is why we find it important to engage with leaders very early on around what sort of team do you need? How does your team need to be successful? And how is it going to contribute to the overall organization objectives? If you'd like to find out more about the 6 team conditions framework, as well as some of the other methods that we use to support teams across a diverse range of organizations, reach out. We'd love to have a conversation with you.